Fucking Grandma! No! Grandma's coming! Fucking Grandma! Grandma, show your fucking neck in the fucking neck hole! Fuck you, Grandma! Little Nightmares 2 is a puzzle platforming horror adventure game that was developed by Tarsier Studios and published by Bandai Namco. The story starts as a masked boy awakens from a dream about a door that is marked with an eye at the end of a long hallway. And as he awakens, he heads off through the wilderness, and that is where this journey begins. On this journey through the wilderness, he frees a girl who is being held prisoner by a masked hunter who also lives in this same wilderness. Once they escape, they use a wooden door as a raft to go across a body of water and wash up to a mysterious and creepy city. As they go into the city, they realize that there is something far more sinister about this city, and they must hide and sometimes fight to survive. Rustling in the wind, you don't run, run, run! He's got a shotgun! Run! He shot me in the face! So what Tarsier Studios has done is somehow managed to take elements from the first game and build off that to make improvements in the second game in almost every aspect. The puzzles in this game will make you think, and sometimes will leave you lost looking for answers, so you'll actually have to look at all of your surroundings to make sure you haven't missed anything. And me personally, if it wasn't for my Twitch chat, I may not have been able to figure some of the puzzles out. Some of the puzzles are just cool, like there was a puzzle where you had this chessboard, and you had to find pieces of the chessboard around, and then you had to put them in the right order to open up a secret door. So there are some difficult ones, and there's some that aren't so difficult, but really cool. And they're all kind of cool, but there are some that really stand out. Visually, the game is fantastic in almost every single level of the game, as every level changes it up in a new way, keeping it fresh all the way through. The antagonists are pretty much the bosses of each section. All vary, but are all fantastic in their own way, and these levels all build off of these bosses, and that's kind of where the game shines, is its level design. The creativity that is put on display for this game is on Ori levels of fantastic, and an absolute gem to play outside the few glitches here and there that you will encounter that will most likely get patched in the near future. And even at that, there's not enough glitches to really affect the overall quality of the game. Just an overall awesome game, solid game, especially for a horror genre that really needs it right now. The gameplay of the game, like I said before, is mostly various puzzles, but there is an actual combat added to this game, which could be seen as a little clunky at times, as you can swing and miss randomly, and you swing so slow because the weapon's so big compared to your character that a miss can also result in your death. Also, sometimes your character won't want to pick up the weapon, which is one of those glitches that I talked about that I hope that they patch or do something with in the near future. All in all, I think the combat was a welcome addition to the game, and while not perfect, really added something new to the game other than puzzles, hiding, and running away from psychos, which we will still do a lot anyway. Also, hitting an enemy you hate with a hammer or an axe is really satisfying when you want to take out your frustrations when they're getting on your nerves. Outside the combat, there is also platforming and climbing mechanics that factor into puzzles and can also factor into when you're running away from enemies or the bosses or like the clip at the beginning of the video. These can vary too, since everything in the rooms are so big around you, compared to you at least. You may have to do things like pull out a drawer or drag over a stool to climb up on just to get onto a table. And usually you get up on these tables to try to get a key or a fuse. And the game always makes you think, as you will spend most of your time doing these puzzles to try to figure out how to get said key or fuse, or trying to escape or beat up enemies. the game always switches it up to make it feel fresh for the player and keep them on their toes, which is always welcome. In terms of collectibles, there's not a lot. There's really only two. One being there's like kind of like these visions of children. It's kind of like black silhouettes of children that you can run up and touch or hug or whatever, and you can try to, I don't know if you're freeing the souls or what you're doing, but you can try to find all of those. And then the other thing is you can go off the beaten path, maybe someplace where the story didn't want you to go, and or you could climb up like a shelf or something that maybe you didn't need to climb up, and then there's a hat there. And that hat you can wear. So I had a bear, kind of like a bear costume hat, and I also had like a Davy Crockett hat that I wore most of my playthrough that I really enjoyed. So you can kind of go around trying to find as many hats, try to get all of the hats in the game if you so choose, and then you can wear whatever hat you enjoy the most. But outside that, that's pretty much all of the collectibles. Pretty straightforward, but still, even at that, with the hats, they still found a way to make even that stuff enjoyable. So in terms of your final score, this game was just a joy to play from beginning to end. There were some frustrations with some puzzles because I'm not very good at puzzle games, but that's not the game's fault. But for the most part, I just had a blast from beginning to end, and that's just my first big game like this for me this year. The Medium was a decently good game, but I put this on another level. The platforming, the level design. I didn't even talk about the music. That is great. The sound design, which is great. Just all that stuff that they just nailed in this game. And yeah, there could be some improvements here and there, but you could say that about every single game. And for a second installment here, they built on every single thing they did in the first game, and they improved on almost everything, and then added some new elements that, yeah, could use some refining. But I think that if they go to make a Little Nightmares 3, then they will refine that even further, and it'll be much better in that game. And at this point, I trust the studio to do that. So for me, I am going to give this game, Little Nightmares 2, a 9 out of 10. A very high score for this kind of game. Yes, I know it's $30 for a game that's really only, 5-6 hours? And it was longer for me because I kept getting stuck, but for normal people that aren't dumb like me, 5 to 6 hours. And if that scares you away, that's fine, but I got my money's worth out of this. This is a fantastic game, and if you're a fan of horror, if you're a fan of platformers, you have to match those together, you're a fan of puzzles, you throw that into, and you got yourself one of the best games of the year so far. Fantastic game. They knocked it out of the park. I can't say it enough, but that is going to do it for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy the content we've been putting out, reviews, playthroughs, best and worst games lists, that's in the channel. Go ahead and subscribe. If you like this video, give it a like. If you hated it, you can downvote it. I'm flexible. But that is going to do it for this video. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Goodbye.